Good morning, day 2 of Denver Comic Con 2015. I know you want to get going, we're a little late here. Michael Newman, I'm your programming coordinator for these rooms. I want to get everything going. Just so you remember, the Denver Comic Con is a program of the Pop Culture Classroom, and every ticket you spend goes to kids' education. Thank you for that. I want to get us going here, so you know her as Glory, you know her from Bring It On. She's launched the website Geek Nation. She's the incredible Claire Kramer. Let's get her back on our stage.
Good morning, Denver Comic Con! How are you guys doing today? Yeah? Did anybody go out last night? Yeah? Oh, I expected a little more of a reaction. Good for you guys. We're here nice and early for the Women of Wheaton panel. We're starting just a little bit late, but I promise it was worth the wait. So without further ado, please welcome 2 of my favorite people, 2 of your favorite people, Miss Amy Acker and Miss Staite. Welcome to our very formal office setting here, ladies.
I know.
I'd like to know
I'm gonna
where
do
you guys
this
see
the
yourself in
whole
5
time.
years, what your strengths and weaknesses are. No, welcome, and thank you guys all for coming out. I know you guys probably have a ton of questions for Amy and Jules, so we will definitely open it up to audience questions soon. Feel free to start lining up now. But let's kick it off. Amy, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? Hi. I have a question for you. Now, we all know that in Joss' world, anything can happen. And you started off playing Fred, a lovely, sweet character on Angel. And, you know, seasons passed, and then all of a sudden, Joss is like, hey, I've got an idea. Let's kill Fred, and let's bring Illyria in. What was your initial thought when that happened, and they pitched that storyline to you?
Well, the scary part was Joss called and said, would you like to come meet for coffee? Sure, that sounds great. I went to coffee with Joss at some random place on Sunset or something, and he said, so I'm gonna kill Fred. And then he just didn't say anything, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's great. And he said, but I'm bringing you back as a demon goddess. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, I guess from us reading some Shakespeare plays, he got the idea to make this character, and then he invited, this was like way before I actually became Illyria, so he had Alexis and I over to his house, and they had like these weird lights in their kitchen that changed colors, and he was experimenting with different colors while Alexis and I were reading some fake scenes that he wrote, and he found the blue lights, and then he was like, yes, she's gonna be blue. So that was that.
She was awesome, blue, by the way. But of all the, you guys both have worked in the business forever, Jules, especially you, which I want to ask you a question about that in a minute.
I have not played a demon goddess.
All Amy and I can say is we're sorry. We're sorry about that.
It sucks.
Let's ask Josh about that, shall we?
Yeah, I feel very left out.
But sometimes I feel like Joss has such a unique process. Like you were saying, there were Shakespeare readings, and you went over into his kitchen, and there was experimenting with lights and, alternative scenes. That's not how it is with every director or producer or writer. So, I mean, how different is it to work with him versus other people in the industry?
I like how specific he is. I appreciate that. I know a lot of actors want to have their own input in the character and make it a collaborative process, but I don't really care about that. I would like my director to tell me exactly what he wants, his vision, tell me where to stand, tell me what he sees, and what he wants to get out of the scene. And I'm happy, and I feel like that's my job to deliver that. And he does that, a really good job of that.
Sometimes he even makes you think that it's your idea.
Yeah, he does do that. Yeah, he does do that. Which is like a special art from a director, because he's really good at stroking your ego, which we all need so desperately.
Yeah, he like implants this little, spark of an idea, this little gem in your brain, and then by the end you're like, I'm so happy I came up with that.
Yeah.
He's like, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't you.
And then you listen to the commentary, and he talks about how it was his idea, and you're like, thanks, Joss.
You're like, thanks for selling me out.
Thanks.
Okay. So, Jewel, you have been in the business since you were a little kid.
Since I was 5, so 12 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as me. Yeah. But one thing that I love about you, and I think everybody loves about you, is you're just like a real person. You keep it very real, honest. How do you stay real when you have this huge industry around you for your whole life?
I can't help it. I am, you know what I mean? I am who I am. I'm like the worst bullshitter in the world. I'm the worst small talker in the world. I just can't do it. I can't do it. If someone in an elevator asks me how my day is, I'll tell them exactly how my day is. Good or bad. I also have a super scary mom, and while I was growing up, she was very strict with me and did not take any diva behavior. That just was unacceptable. So I had that drilled into me from an early age. And also, I think because she was smart enough to get me involved in the contract process, things like timesheets, and this is what it means when you work overtime, that it sort of became ingrained in me that it was just a job, and it wasn't anything else but a job. So I wasn't allowed to glamorize it.
Yeah, I think that that's really important, is to, for your kids, your mom obviously did an excellent job, but maintaining that this is, your self-worth isn't tied to what you do on stage, on film, on screen, so.
No, just because you're the one in front of the camera doesn't make you any more special. Because the crew is doing a lot more work than we are. We don't have to do that much.
Yeah.
We show up pretty late, and they put a piece of tape on the ground to tell us where to stand, and then give us lines to read. It's really not that hard. And there's free food there, and
It's called craft service, folks, and
yeah, we
it's
get
dangerous.
paid a lot of money, and then we're like, bye everyone, and we go home while everybody else cleans up. So, if you're gonna be a brat about it,
Yeah.
it's just not fair.
Well, I think that Joss has the knack also of picking pretty cool people to be in this project, so.
Yeah, he doesn't like
You guys are pretty cool. You guys may have noticed that I'm not Emma Caulfield, even though this sign says Emma Caulfield, but she is here. So please welcome Emma Caulfield! Come on in, Emma. Hi. Emma, I'm just going to jump in with a question for you before we open it up to the audience. Yesterday, if you guys were lucky enough to catch Emma's panel, she talked a lot about, as she's moved through the industry, wanting to create your own roles, wanting to create your own sort of thumbprint in the industry, not just as an actor, but as a writer, as a director. So it got me thinking, and I'm curious, if there were one nonfiction character that you could portray, past or present, who would that be? Who would Emma Caulfield turn into?
One's focus, one's Zoom.
Nonfiction.
Iris.
That means real. Oh.
That's a really good one.
Because I was thinking
That's
that's
a really good
where
one.
you need to focus your energy. See, I'm gonna career counsel here for a minute. Emma, what I would like you to do is come up with a non-fictional character, get the rights to either a book, an article, or something, and then create a project based around
I
that.
know. I got it.
Okay.
Either one of these two women actually would be amazing either to play or just bring them to life. these golden age of Hollywood movie stars, Olivia de Havilland and Joan Fontaine, and they're sisters, and they were highly competitive. With
Hi.
like extremely.
I'm blonde too. There you go. Okay. Good morning. Okay, let's start over here with
So
our
yeah.
questions. Is that mic on? All right.
So this is for Staite, and I loved you on the show Supernatural, and I was just curious, could you tell us about working with Jensen and Jared and some of the scenes?
You're asking me that because I just said that I always tell the truth, right? They're really nice, actually. They're awesome. They're very opposite of each other. Jensen is very calm. He's kind of soft-spoken. He's really sweet. Who's directing that episode? He's very, very well organized. And Jared is like he's like a puppy. He's like a puppy that like runs into the room and knocks everything over and wants to hug everybody. He's really, really funny. And he's always trying to make you screw up. While it's your close-up. But they were lovely, and the crew was really happy, and I've always thought that it's very telling how the mood of the crew is to who the lead actor is. You can always tell if the person at the helm of the show is a little bit of a nightmare, because everyone's like, they just kind of can't wait to go home. And it was not like that. Everybody was so happy to be there and loved their job so clearly. And I think that's why they just keep going year after year after year after year. Too bad I died. That was short-lived. But yeah, they're really lovely. I just wish they were better looking, but you can't have everything.
You can't have everything. Let's go over here.
This is a question for Amy. What is your favorite memory of working with Andy Hallett?
There's a lot actually. I love Andy. There was one day that he had to say, no, I can't even, the word, we were all sitting at a conference table and he had to say something like, that's a gold dinger, or something like that. I don't know what it was. But every time I looked at him, I started laughing, and it went on for probably 3 hours, and they called in the producers to come and talk to me about like how I was ruining the day. And Andy was like, I'm trying to say it serious, and no matter what he said, I just was dying laughing, and then everybody, actually it wasn't just me, Alexis was laughing too. So we all got in a whole lot of trouble for Andy just being his normal, sweet, funny self. He was like, guys, it's not funny. It was awesome. So many good things.
Thanks for sharing that, Amy. Yes.
I was wondering how you guys felt about the portrayal of the women in Age of Ultron.
Who wants to kick that question off? It's just a little topic that's in the media right now. You know, I think we're seeing, there was a huge, obviously, backlash with Scarlett Johansson's character starting at the press junkets. And, it's hard to comment on because, first of all, a lot of things actors say during press junkets can be taken out of context. Keep that in mind. But, probably inappropriate remarks. We all can agree, maybe. In terms of like Joss's portrayal, I don't think you can look at necessarily what he did with the character and put all the fault and blame on him because he was responding to the MCU in a lot of ways. But that's just my own personal opinion. I'm definitely curious what everyone else. I do think it's a tragedy that her character's been left off like t-shirt lines, the dolls, and hopefully, the manufacturers will really rectify that. It's women's portrayal in media is really hot right now. It's not just Age of Ultron. It was, if anyone's a Game of Thrones fan and saw the episode last week, with Sansa and on her marriage night. That's all I'll say, just spoilers. But you know, that's been huge, and people proclaim they're not watching the show anymore. And there has to be, yes, there has to be accountability in the media, but it also has to be kept in mind that it is fictional, and it's not meant to comment directly all the time on society. So that's just my take on it. You guys have any insight or thoughts you want to share?
Joss always writes really great women characters, and I mean, you also never know what parts were left out, and all, you know, I think there was a lot more of that movie from what I understand, and we all got to see. So I would have liked to have seen his whole unedited version too.
I haven't seen it. So I can't really.
We forgive you.
I'm gonna say this. Just because you are the writer-director of a movie, of a franchise, does not mean you have complete creative control. Okay? So, you have to keep in mind that Joss has a ton of people behind him giving a million opinions and telling them exactly what they want to see and what they want in the script, and he is trying like hell to please everybody, including you. That's an impossible task. I think he's proven himself to be an incredibly intelligent writer who writes beautiful, strong, interesting, multi-layered characters for women. And nothing drives me more crazy than people sitting behind their computer screens and thinking they can say whatever the fuck they want. I hate it. You know what it is? It's not freedom of speech. It's not freedom of speech. It's bullying. It's bullying. And it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. I don't care who you are. It's not fair. Like, I don't care about the Kardashians. I hate it when people bash the Kardashians. I think it's shitty. I think it's just gross human behavior, and there's no room for it. And for whatever reason he decided to leave Twitter, I very passionately defend him. And I think all of his work just seems to have completely gone away because of this. And we have to remember what he's known for, what he's famous for. And that's the characters that he's written. So I love him, and he's a good person, and he's a good friend, and I just wish everybody would not stop.
Great question, thank you. Let's go over here.
Hi. So my question kind of builds off of that question as far as like, no, calm down. So like, because Joss does write all these like really multi-layered, complex, you know, characters for women, kind of taking them away from that love interest or accessory kind of role in action and sci-fi kind of stuff. Like, what would you like to see be the future of women in that kind of genre?
More demon goddesses.
Jewel play a demon goddess, obviously.
I don't know how many times I have to say it.
I mean, I think that we all enjoy playing multifaceted characters, and we want to see that in men and women roles. You know, there's been a movement, you know, even with Meryl Streep creating the Women Over 40 writing workshop that she just created, and there's a real focus now on lifting up women artists in the industry and giving them tools to be more vocal and successful. So I think that's a, you know, great thing, and hopefully over the next decade we'll see more and more people like Jane Espenson have control of shows, and you know, I think that also, you know, for us, I don't think any of us choose roles that are just like the girlfriend or the whatever. You know, we all choose interesting roles. That's just where we are as people as well. No, I don't mean to speak for you guys, but
Yeah, I mean, not unless they pay you like a lot of money. And it's like, I gotta pay for my house. I don't know. I mean, luckily, I think we've all been super lucky, right? That we've got to play very interesting characters. But I also think, I've said this before with you, Claire, is it doesn't necessarily, like, an interesting character doesn't necessarily mean a super strong character. Sometimes it can mean a multi-layered, interesting, flawed character who doesn't make the best decisions and has no idea what they're doing and isn't a hero.
Absolutely. I
Those
mean,
are
that's
fun.
life, you know? It's great to play strong women. It's great to play damaged women. That's our job as actresses and as artists, is to portray life. You wouldn't want to look at paintings of, you know, the same mountain for the rest of your life, and you don't want to see the same portrayals on film for the rest of your life either. At least I don't. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Amy, this is a good lead into your character on Person of Interest. Play like a... You're so awesome on that show. You play a hacker assassin, a little bit of a different role for you since, you know, but tell us about, like, you know, approaching that role and what you did to prepare for it.
I mean, it's been such a fun, another blessing of a role. And when it started out, the character was actually introduced on the show before I was even cast as it. They had her fingers and her hair in the background, so I kind of came into it with them already having an idea of what they wanted. But I think I was only supposed to do 5 episodes in the second season, and the fact that now I'm a part of the team and have gotten, you know, it's just been, it's always exciting to be on a show where you get a script and can't wait to read it to see what your character's doing and what changes. I mean, I just get to, it's kind of like being on a Joss show, you know, there's such wonderful writing, and one episode I'm wearing a stuffed bear costume, and the next episode I'm screaming and crying because my love of my life is dead. So, you know, it's like always getting to do something new.
Yeah, well, you're awesome on it. And if you haven't seen the show, definitely check it out. Let's go over here.
Hello. Claire, you're doing a great job moderating, by the way.
Thank you.
My question's for Amy. I think I was most impressed with your transition from Fred to Illyria on Angel, just major acting chops there. Did you take any inspiration from other characters or books to prepare for Illyria? Did Joss tell you what to do? Like, how did you prepare to get into the demon goddess role?
Well, thank you, first of all, thank you. He had kind of a good idea of what he wanted it to be, but I guess it was from, I don't remember which part it was. I think it was when I read Portia, and he was like, ooh, that's not like Fred, and so he thought it would be fun. And then he had this idea to kind of, he used the word, make her insect-like. So we tried to like experiment with that again in his kitchen one night, which, you know, was probably weird for anyone else involved. But yeah, he brought 2 scenes to Allie and Alexis's wedding and handed me them on the dance floor and said, this is your new character. And so I was like, thanks. And so then we kind of went from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So, in a lot of older sci-fi and stuff, you see women characters who are there, but they're just kind of there. I was wondering if you had any stories or thoughts on how many more stunts you're doing and how many more action scenes and just strong kind of fight scenes and everything that you get to do. And this is just kind of for anyone.
Versus what may have happened 2 decades ago? Or...
Like, instead of having a character that doesn't do a lot, like you're there, or you're the smart one or the pretty one, you're like the strong one, the one that's doing acrobatics and fight scenes and things like that.
Do you guys like doing action scenes?
This question is definitely not for me. I never get to do anything cool. I'm always like, be careful, guys.
I think it's funny because I'm that way in real life. I'm always like, hi, let's stay over here. And then I always am like having 2 guns and killing 25 people at once, which is really fun. My main problem is that now, like, we have so many police officers and just bad people, and I'm always like killing them or kneecapping them or tasing them or whatever it is, that I've kind of lost my fear. Like, I'll be walking down the street at night and I'll just think, if someone attacked me right now, I know what I would do. And then I think this is probably a bad idea. But luckily I haven't been attacked at night in the dark alley.
Do you have any insight into this?
I would love to be able to wield a gun or something. I think that would be really fun. I think we touched on this yesterday, but I'm super fascinated with science fiction and outer space in particular. And then my brain just starts spinning out all the weird things. I'm like, yeah, but if I had a gun. So I think this was yesterday when I said, oh, I'd like to be a prostitute slash like crazy, like really awesome gun wielder. Like she's like a pro. Yeah, and then somehow have that all taken up into space in like the third season. Like suddenly we're all just in outer space. And then I thought, well, like, you know, if you're doing it as a lot of the science fiction I love, you know, there's perfect gravity in space, and there is no, you know, everyone just walks around the halls, even if the ship moves really fast, no one gets hurt. It's somehow just a magical, you know, real life in a ship. And I thought, well, like if they didn't put it like that, like if you made it a little bit more realistic, like and you did wield a gun, like the bullet would go slower, right? And then I thought, well, that really wouldn't be much of a power, because then it's like you can just fire your gun and be like, hold up, you know, like move it a little bit if your aim is off, or if you're trying to like someone, you know, you're aiming at a bad guy and the bad guy just looks at you like, bitch, seriously? Like, oh, hold on, the bullet. Still though, I really want to do that. I really want to do it. Really badly.
You need to write that into your project.
I know, just whores in space with guns.
There you go.
There we go. It writes itself.
Yeah, it does. It kind of does. I love doing stunt scenes. I think it adds another way of, you know, a true realness to the character. So that's my short answer. Yes, let's go over here.
Okay, so my question's for everyone. Did you guys ever play pranks on the set with Wheaton? And if so, what was your favorite prank?
I never played a prank, I don't think.
You're just not that funny, Emma.
The truth comes out. No, I never did. I was a victim of many, but I never did. I've said this before, but like 1 year on Buffy, I don't know, I was turning like 25 maybe, because that was a long time ago, and now I feel really old. But I think I was turning 25, and Allie thought it would just be the funniest thing ever to tell the entire crew, cast, everyone, the writers, everyone, that I was actually turning 30. So when I drove onto the lot, there was this big happy 30th birthday on a banner over everything, and I think she gave me like this big basket full of Depends, and like Epsom salts, and like Bengay, and stuff like that. Like,
I love her interpretation of 30.
Yeah, right.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think she was like 20, I think she's like a year younger, 20 years, no, she's 1 or 2 years younger than me, I think, or the same age, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that was hilarious. And so then, you know, when people would come up, oh, and I had cake too, the happy 30th, so people would come up and they'd be like, oh my God, it's 30, she's 30, it's a big milestone, oh my goodness. I'm like, yeah, I'm 25. They're like, yeah, sure you are, you know. Yeah, that lasted, I think, a full season too.
Amy, were there any pranks on Angel?
I mean, people were always making each other laugh. I don't remember any specific. I have a bad memory. I don't know. I don't remember any like full-on pranks, but think of one. I'll say.
Firefly pranks? Yay, nay?
You know, I worked with a guy named Nathan Fillion who was basically like the ultimate prankster, whether you like it or not. So every conversation was a prank. Every interaction with that guy, you were like, do you really mean this? What's going on here? It was always fun, but he's like an older brother. And then he has Alan Tudyk, who just laughs at everything Nathan does and encourages him constantly. So I was the youngest one in the cast too, and I was the one that really got the brunt of it.
Oh, I just remembered one. I did prank people. Oh my god, it's all coming back to me. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if other people did, but I made myself laugh and laugh and laugh.
We'll be the judge of that.
I would take, you know, your downtime, sets, whatever, and they're relighting, they're doing whatever, and you would inevitably end up grazing by craft service. So, you know, and whatever, or a donut, just my go-to. So I was like, oh. And I would just wait. So I'd somehow hover near a big trash can that was nearby, and there was usually many, especially by craft service, just to throw stuff away. And I'd wait for like a good group of people to kind of be hovering, and I would just start a conversation, and eat my donut, and then I'd pretend that I would put more in my mouth than I did, and kind of hide it, swallow a little bit, but really keep it, as I'm doing it, smashing the donut in my hand, or whatever it was, like really making it grow. It's commitment. So I really, you know, I'd get it really disgusting, and then it would be, you know, they'd be saying something, and I would just start giving this look like, and it is gross, and collective look of, what? You know, and I'm like, ha ha, psych.
That's an awesome story. And I love the charade-like reenactment. That was very good. Jewel, I kind of have a serious question now, but it reminded me when we were talking about pranks, because I'm curious. Everyone here was devastated when the show was pulled, but how did you guys find out? And did you think they were, like, somebody may be kidding when they were telling you this?
No. We were the underdog from the very beginning. I don't think I think there was a point where we were not even going to go to series. So we knew that we had a lot to prove from the very beginning. And I remember driving home one night, and there were 2 other shows that were premiering that week. Fastlane, I remember, which also got canceled. And something else, I think also got canceled. But the network obviously loved them because I was driving down Sunset on my way home, and there were these big red carpets for their premiere night,
right.
You know? And there was nothing for Firefly. So by the time it actually happened, we were shooting the message, we were on set when it happened, and Joss came on set, and he was really mad, and I'd never seen him mad before. He said, I don't have anything good to say, and told us we were canceled. It was almost a weird relief, because we knew it was coming. So it's just like, oh, just rip off the Band-Aid already. It's sort of like when you're waiting for a breakup, you know, and you're like, just tell me, so I can move on. It felt like that. It was sad. It was really sad to say goodbye to those people. And then we all just got like really hammered. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's go. I think we were over here. Let's take a question from over here.
Hi, Jewel. How are you doing? This question is for you. I've followed your career ever since a certain show you might remember, Space Cases. And I was wondering if you might have any fond memories you would like to share about that show.
It's like having a baby picture that just haunts you. Just like follows you throughout the years. I was a 12-year-old kid who got to wear a rainbow wig and run around on the set of a spaceship and eat candy off a craft service table with a bunch of 12-year-olds. It was the best. I loved it. The only sad part about it was leaving early. We went on hiatus and they didn't have us under contract, and I auditioned for Flash Forward for the Disney Channel, and I booked it, and they were smart enough to put me under contract. So when season 2 of Space Cases came rolling around, we had to tell them sorry, but we signed on to something else, so I had to say goodbye to all my buddies, and I was really sad. But yeah, nothing but good memories from that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
My question is for Amy. First, I want to thank you so much for bringing such life and depth to a character that essentially fulfills every male computer nerd's dreams. And what I'm wondering is...
That's a lot of people here.
Yes, myself included. What I'm wondering is, of all the things that you learned from working in the Whedonverse, what would you consider the most important that you've taken with you into your current role?
Okay, maybe this is the sad part, but I'm not actually sure which of my roles you're talking about. Is this Fred or Root?
Root.
Okay.
I think he's talking about person of interest.
Because Fred was kind of a computer nerd too. Sorry, what you repeating?
So what's your takeaway from working in the Whedonverse, and what have you been able to carry over into person of interest?
Well, I probably speak for everyone when I say working in the Whedonverse really just kind of spoils you, and it's not as much of a takeaway as it makes you just think everything else is kind of bad. So then getting to do person of interest, it made me choosy about who I want to work with and what kinds of people I want to work with. And I think that Jonah Nolan is going to be one of those guys who's up there with Joss and JJ. And I mean, I'm so excited to see he's got Westworld coming out, which it sounds like Emma should be in, with prostitutes and guns and space. So I think I'll tell you about it. And he's also, written such great roles for women with me and Sarah Shahi and her character, and just has wonderful writers, and I think that that's kind of the thing that I took away from Joss, is that if you have good material and you have good writers writing you great stuff, it gives you a confidence to do things and to try things that, I don't know, that it's kind of makes you feel more powerful in the role, like knowing that you have this wonderful base to start from.
Great answer, thank you.
Thanks again for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes, let's go over here.
Good morning, ladies. Okay, so I am an entertainer and a producer, and I'm wondering, how does it feel to know that your characters have inspired other works and other forms of art outside of film and television productions because of how they were written and portrayed, and how do you process that?
How do you guys like being an inspiration?
It always makes me really excited, like from What to Do or something, when teachers will come up and say that they showed it in our classroom. And to me, that every time I hear that, I'm like, that is so cool. And I just really hope that one day my kids have to watch me in school, because I think it'll embarrass them.
Jewel, you tweeted an awesome picture yesterday of a tattoo of yourself, not on yourself, on someone else. What is that like?
I love it. People are like, don't you find that creepy? I'm like, no. I find it awesome. I think it's amazing. And at the end of the day, it's not me, it's Kaylee that they're in love with. And I get it. She's very lovable. Yeah. Sorry? Thanks, my favorite. Who doesn't want to be an inspiration? It's the best. Who's going to answer that with, ooh, it sucks?
Emma?
I'm not even, this is not false modesty or anything like that, but I genuinely I don't ever think of being that. I'm not even half sure that I am an inspiration to people. I've only really had it hit me one time, and it was at a convention recently, where there was this wonderful, now boy, he was a transgender boy. When I first met him, he was a girl, and he came up and he was obviously very, as you would imagine, being 13, 14, and being in that place. And his life was very unpleasant, to say the least. And he just said, you know, you made me laugh. Like, when you would do S&M videos, I'd always listen for your advice, which made me laugh. I'm like, it's not real advice, but I mean, I'm glad you took it. I'm glad you took it. Yay! And he's like, you really got me through your humor and weirdness. It's just got me through this part of my life, and I'm going to continue on through the process of changing genders, and at this point she was just very, she was just very shaken. And then also at one of these, where you're meeting people you admire, and so nervous, and I gave her a hug, and I sincerely felt it for her, and I really meant it, and I said, things do get better. They do. And you will be okay. You'll be okay. You're strong, and keep going. And the next time I saw him, he was a boy, and he had transferred schools, and he was happy, and he was accepted where he was, and he was crying. He was just like, thank you. Like you were right, and it did get better. And that, I don't know if being an inspiration, I don't know, but having the ability just to have a moment with somebody, or many people that I don't know, but a moment with someone where you do something, whether it's something in the character that they really responded to, or your personality, or a combination of both, I don't know, it really affects a change for one person. And I'm probably getting that quote all wrong, but it's the Schindler quote. You save one life, you save the world entire. And I felt like I really had made a huge impact on a micro level. And that was like the best, that was just about the best part of that whole year. It really was.
Thank you. All right, we're creeping up on 1 minute left, so let's go here, and then this will be our last question over here. 2 more, so please make it a good one.
I'll try to be quick. Josh is fantastic and unique in his ability to write very lyrical dialogue, really, really great language. Is that something that rolls naturally off the tongue, or is it hard to read the scripts and say those wonderful words, but to say them naturally? Because they come out wonderful. Josh speak. It's fantastic.
Anybody
For me, I feel like it's super easy to do. You can kind of always tell with scripts and writing if it's good or not, because it's easy to memorize if it's good, and if it's not, you keep looking at it and you're like, what? But with everything Joss writes, it just feels like it. I just wish that I spoke that way in real life. I wish he would follow me around. He could answer these questions better.
He definitely has some of the most fun dialogue that I've ever had in my career, the glory stuff. And once you fall into that sort of cadence of his language, then it becomes very easy. I agree. Yeah. Thank you. Great question. Thanks. Yes, last one.
My question is for Emma. Ani is one of my favorite characters, and you played her beautifully. But there's one episode where she definitely has a shift in her character arc. So my question is, did you prefer her playing her before the wedding episode or after?
I think after, actually. Yeah, I would say after that. There's something very interesting, I think, and fun and very relatable. I find just being an actor, artist, right, whatever, in general, not in Hollywood specifically, that when you set out with the best of intentions to move forward in life and make a plan and a goal, and it's just ripped the fuck away from you. Sorry, they're kids. Sorry, children. I'm sorry. The aftermath of that, like how you function as a person and rebuilding that, and what kind of damage it's left behind, if any, all that really juicy stuff. It's just really fun to sink your teeth into. And I think, at least in my experience, a lot to pull from. And I think she was much more in the struggle after that point. Like her good and bad sides were very much dueling it out for a while. And that's that classic light and dark part. It's everything. It's so universal, and it's in so many wonderful films and literature and all that. So to touch on that even a little bit was really, really cool. And I think, was that before the musical? No, it was after the musical. Wait, when did I do that? When did I do that? Whenever I had an extra number or something, and I just don't remember when that was, but I feel like that was post. It was post the whole wedding breakup. So I got to do that too, which was really cool. I felt really honored to be given another song. It's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so
you.
much for coming. If you don't follow them on Caulfield, maybe after the first date, and you can catch them, of course, downstairs. One more big round of applause for the ladies of Wheaton.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. If we can get the house as clear as possible, we have a full group waiting for the next panel.